they said, that Holyfield guy, hot doggy, he beat that guy and they just robbed him like that.
The Lord is shining a light on him because they'll always remember he was disqualified and they gave him a bronze medal.
And you won the people hard, but more important, the way you handled yourself during that whole experience did us proud.
After the Olympics, Evander immediately turned pro, signing $1 million contract with Lou Duva's Main Events.
First thing he did for his mother, bought her a house, and he's just that kind of person.
Annie had something for Evander as well.
My mother said, I'm gonna take you to see your daddy. I said, you gonna do what? I said, you mean tell me you know where he at? She said, yeah.
Evander's father, Isom Coley, had never left rural Alabama. He never knew he had a son.
My brothers and my sisters, we all drove down there, and behold, I meet my daddy.
I said, yeah, he gotta be mine, because he looked just like me. You know, he talked like me, you know, and he was just glad to see me, you know. He was just tickled deaf, you know, to see who his daddy was, you know.
It was like he changed, you know. It's like a lot of anxiety in him had went away because now he has met, you know, who he came from.
His personal life now complete, Evander easily won his first 11 fights, setting up a cruiserweight title fight. His opponent, a seasoned ex-con named White Muhammad Qawi.
The general thinking was that it seemed a little premature.
Evander stood toe-to-toe with the punishing Qawi for 15 grueling rounds, earning a split decision victory and his first professional championship.
He showed so much heart. I mean, I said, this guy's going to go all the way, not only in light heavyweight, but he's going to go right up to the heavyweight.
By 1990, Evander Holyfield had risen through the ranks of the heavyweight division. He was rich, he was increasingly famous, and he was a magnet for women.
I've had girls come to me and say, Ken, I want to be with Evander. Give him this number, tell him I want to see him.
When he started getting money and started dressing better, you know, women was attracted to him then, and he was like a kid in a candy shop.
Evander and Paulette had been married for 5 years and by now had 2 children. But their lives had undergone enormous change. The marriage was strained, and Evander wandered.
We start growing apart, which allow other things to come between you to allow you to mess around or want to be with somebody else for other reasons.
They hit bottom when one of Evander's affairs ended in the birth of a child.
When the other young lady ended up getting pregnant, then I was mad with her because I didn't want no kid.
They both tried to repair the marriage, but in time it was clear the damage was done.
I think he did everything he could to hold that marriage together, and it was painful to him that he couldn't do that.
Despite his failure in marriage, Evander's success in the ring kept growing. On October 25th, 1990, he squared off with James Buster Douglas for the heavyweight championship of the world.
When you're coming down that tunnel, you can feel the energy, and you can hear the roar of the people, you know, waiting to engulf you, and they're screaming and hollering and go get him, Jim.
Going into the ring, and Tommy Lasorda was coming down, going to his seat. And he says, "Look, what do you think?" I just held up 3 fingers, three rounds. He says, "You gotta be kidding." No, I'm not kidding. 3 rounds, we're gonna knock him out.
On that night, Evander Holyfield fulfilled 2 predictions. He did knock Douglas out in the 3rd round. And 20 years after Carter Morgan had told a feisty 8-year-old that he would one day be heavyweight champion of the world, he raised the belt in triumph. The victory set up the most anticipated heavyweight fight in years, a showdown with Mike Tyson. While Evander would wait for Tyson's release from prison, he would endure terrible personal tragedy.
They actually rolled him out, and I said, "Hey, let me see, is this my brother?"
I'm at my mother's for dinner. She says, wasn't that chili unbelievable? I say, unbelievable.
He was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. In the fall of '91, Evander prepared for the most anticipated fight of his career, the championship battle against his old friend, Iron Mike Tyson. But before the fight could take place, Tyson was sent to prison on a rape conviction.
People say, are you upset? No, I'm not upset because I realized that it wasn't so important for me to fight Tyson. The most important thing is that whenever I fight him, beat him.
Evander would need his time and energy to support his increasingly troubled family. In February of '92, his oldest brother James pleaded guilty to the rape of a 12-year-old girl.
We were a close-knit family, and when James got in trouble, we were all in trouble.
I hope that he never do anything that literally hurt anybody, but I couldn't say, well, you know, it's not my brother no more.
1 month later, another catastrophe. Evander's beloved brother Willie was shot and killed at his home in Atlanta.
His wife's brother came over to the house, and he was intoxicated, and he had a gun. He said it was a mistake, but, you know, alcohol and guns are not a good combination.
They actually rolled him out. I said, hey, let me see if this is my brother.
Willie had recently turned his life around after a long battle with drugs and alcohol. Just months before his death, he'd rejoined Evander's team as a trainer, and the brothers had begun to reconnect. His heart heavy with grief, Evander slowly went back into the ring. 9 months after the death of his brother, he put his titles on the line against 25-year-old Riddick Bowe.
He had this impression in his mind that once I put the pressure on Riddick Bowe, and I keep the pressure on him from round one, he's gonna quit. And Riddick Bowe didn't quit.
The fight was an epic battle, both fighters pushing to the limits of their strength and ability. To many, the 10th round was the most heroic in heavyweight history.
Everybody in the Thomas and Mack Center on their feet. What a hard-fought Holyfield. Ironically, of course, he may be earning more respect in his first defeat than he has earned in his 28 victories.
The winner by unanimous decision and new heavyweight champion of the world!
It was Evander's first defeat in more than 10 years.
Before the Gallen fight, they gave him a standing ovation. It was the best fight that he ever fought.
Beaten, but perhaps more champion tonight.
Evander and Bowe would square off again less than a year later. This time, Evander was on a mission for revenge. Just 5 months after regaining his title, Evander faced the dangerous Michael Moore. Evander was injured in the second round, tearing the rotator cuff of his left shoulder.
Give me some water! Give me some water! On my shoulder, my left shoulder.
He continued fighting, but he was waging an uphill battle.
It was an instance of Evander's unlimited courage overwhelming his judgment.
Moore won in a split decision.